When you go through life, the contentment, I would say, would be growing up in the same location, getting married, having kids, doing your 9 to 5 job. Now, that's a perfectly great life, right? But do you know yourself? Have you experienced the world? Have you experienced life?
Sam Vanderpump, I am super excited to have you here, mate. So thanks so much for joining me.
16, 17, I knew that academia wasn't for me. I knew university wasn't for me. I didn't conform to what everyone else did, which was go to university. I don't like being told what to do. There were a lot of friction between me and the boss, even though I was one of his directors, essentially. I started my own company from that. And then all of a sudden there was a key certain set of instances which happened in my life. So during the time which I was about to start my new business, my dad passed away. And then at the same time I ended a relationship. Then we started a new business. I was always focused on, with everything that happens bad, was not letting that thing consume you and focusing on the positive that happened in your life. I could have gone one of two ways in that instance. I could have gone downhill, focused on my dad's death and dealt with that really, really badly, or I had to focus on the positive in my life. It's not necessarily that, you've got to commit yourself 100% and you can't have any fun and you can't go out, you can't do this. You've got to make your life revolve around it. It's about making my schedule revolve around business rather than my work revolve around my schedule. Just do it. Commit yourself. Take a leap. It comes out of a place of uncomfort. Do it while you're younger and you've got no responsibilities, no attachments. The younger you can do it, the better.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So before we begin today's podcast, I'd like to say a big thank you to Casita Properties for sponsoring this episode. They are the UK leading property company when it comes to off-market, discreet buy-to-let sales. God, I've said that so many times. Links in the description below. Sam Vanderpump, I am super excited to have you here, mate. So thanks so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's going to be a good one, mate. And slightly different angle today. We're going to dive into some topics that I probably don't normally talk about. We're going to take it somewhere different. But as we always do, just for anyone who doesn't yet know who you are, you should know who the Vanderpumps are, by the way. Believe me, you should. And if you're not, why are you watching my channel? Come on, you should know. Mate, give us that 30-second overview of who you are and what you do.
So my name's Samuel Vanderpump. I'm the CEO of Metadapio, which is a company that we're building at the moment. It's a metaverse payment platform, basically. My main company is Vanderpump FX, foreign exchange brokerage, actually based here in London.
Awesome. So let's start off. Let's take it from the childhood. What was your childhood like? What happened? What significant moments in your life? And then let's take it lead into the companies that you have now.
Well, I actually think, to be fair, my childhood was pretty normal, very, very standard. Went to school, grew up, pretty much got everything that I could have wanted from a childhood. Up until the age of 16, I'd say there's actually no alarm bells, no red flags, just everything was pretty daisy, rosy dory, whatever the saying is.
Yeah. One of those.
Yeah, it was all good till 16. And look, life is ups and downs, emotional roller coaster, but I can say up till 16 it was pretty stable, which was a good thing, but also a bit boring and didn't really build any character till then.
Oh, I like the way you say that. Didn't build any. I don't think many people would say that, or be open to saying that. But I like the fact that you've just said that.
It's actually only now that you asked the question that I think it only just clicked in my head. And that's why I say it. I like that. Growing up, I don't think I was actually a rather significant person in school. And this is something that's just clicking for me now as I speak to you. I was very, very, average or just above average in class. Wasn't very popular, had friends. But nothing really happened in my life to really build any character to make me a significant person. I guess that's what I would sort of say. And then I guess when all of a sudden things start happening across your life, all of a sudden you start building character and you start actually really defining your own character and building a person. And then all of a sudden you make it to where you are today.
Mate, I love that.
It's really interesting.
I'll tell you why I really like that is because I know many people that have gone through or have had certain backgrounds from childhood, and you mentioning about not really developing your character is actually something that's very common that normally catches up with people later in life. But that it's never identified to then develop their own character like what you're talking about now and sort of being able to know yourself. And I think that's quite a big thing in today's society is going through a period of not really actually defining who you are and getting to grips with perhaps things that you like, things that you want to do. And I like that take on it, but because not many people would, sort of say it and just say that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the idea that you say, I think it's a big thing at the moment, isn't it? I've got to know myself or find myself. People like to say that quite a lot. What does that actually mean, though? I'm actually going to ask you that question.
It's a good question. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think contentment. I think in a world where, let's face it, we've all got access to social medias. I think when you open it up, it's very easy to get lost in looking at other people's journeys. Therefore, everyone questions their own speed, where they're at, where they should be, what kind of lifestyle they had. Therefore, subconsciously, a decision is made to perhaps the lifestyle that they should live, without really realising it. I think when you're content, knowing that this is who I am, this is what I want to do, I've got my own mind, I disagree with you, I agree with you, don't really like you, kind of like you, like it or lump it, I'm content either way, whatever your decision is. That's kind of where I'm at. But I think some other people are in a little bit of confusion of, I don't know what I want to do.
I would have to say I completely disagree, yeah.
I love it.
I really do, yeah. I guess for me, maybe I do agree. Maybe I just don't, it's a hard one. Because when you go through life, the contentment, I would say, would be a lot of times sitting, growing up in the same location, living in that location, getting married, having kids, doing your 9 to 5 job, and not leaving that box. Now, that's a perfectly great life, right? Very easy, very stable. That's contentment. But do you know yourself? Have you experienced the world? Have you experienced life? I don't know.
I think it's a good take. I like the fact that you've got a counter to it. I think so. There's probably two parts to that. I think contentment in going along with what we would consider the norm, because let's face it, we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of old narrative in terms of you have a family, you have the kids, you have the house, you work. That is your, what they would say in America, the American dream. You do that whole sort of standard thing. To break away from the mold and go and explore things and try things, that's kind of, really getting to know yourself or experiencing things to go, oh, actually, I quite like that. Didn't really know that. Let's put it this way. I didn't know that I liked mussels until the other day. So there you go. So
that's
fact,
out the box.
I like mussels. Without trying things, you don't know. But I think people are, we're so exposed to other people and their perfect lifestyles. I think that's where I don't really think people are fully aware of the possibilities or knowing what they do. So you've started these businesses. You've obviously, even to start a business says a lot about you, because you have to be a certain type of person. So how did that start?
I guess that really comes from my family. I have to say, I'd like to say it's my character but 16, 17, I knew that academia wasn't for me. I knew university wasn't for me. I didn't conform to what everyone else did, which was go to university. I went, I need to work. I laid bricks for my granddad on a building site. He ran his own building company. I DJ'd for my mum and dad's business. They ran their own DJ agency. But I wasn't a worker. I wasn't do a job and sit by. There was something more, and I needed to do something myself. Watch films like Wolf of Wall Street, Boiler Room. You suddenly want to be an FX trader. I lived in Essex. It fit the part, right? So I ended up applying to a load of jobs. Got down to like a few interviews and was offered a few different jobs. And for some reason, I was sold by this guy who was setting up his own company in Essex, which was a foreign exchange brokerage. And he was only a couple years older than me, right? He was 21. He had essentially worked for someone, a very old-fashioned boiler room type trader, learned everything. And it was basically we entered this world, which was you were given a script, literally like Wolf of Wall Street, right? We were in a garage, above a garage. We were given this script and we were told to sell currency to these guys, import-export companies, phone accounts payable, and speak to them in the script, and told to sell them currency. And there was about 4 to 5 18-year-olds on a rotation, right? Because no one lasted, no one could do it, so there were people in and out the door. I seem to be quite good at it, and I could sell, as my mum always said, I can sell ice to the Eskimos, right? Or sand to the Arabs. That's maybe why we're now in Abu Dhabi with one of our businesses. So, I mean, I was quite good at it, and he made me his head of sales. 3 years later, his company was doing very, very well. The company's still going today, and I think they're doing incredibly well. Unfortunately, all business was, I think I had this, what would you call it, a rivalry of power. I don't like being told what to do. So there were a lot of friction between me and the boss, even though I was one of his directors, essentially. And I started my own company from that. I sort of went out with 2 of the other guys in the office and we started our own thing, and yeah, we went to our next sort of project from there.
I have to admit, I'm willing to buy whatever you're selling me, to be honest now. I don't know about anyone else. I'm kind of sold already.
You're going to go abroad?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll get you some euros. You send me the pounds.
Let's do it.
Let's go on holiday.
Let's do it. I love it. What made you get into Forex? Where did that start? And I'll give you a little one. We've had a couple of Forex people on here. Let me ask you the question, the ultimate Forex question that everyone wants to know. Drum roll. Do you swim with penguins?
I don't get that.
Okay, wait. We're going to share that one with you after. We're going to share that one with you after.
I think we need to actually. So I'm not a Forex trader. So there's a different thing.
Okay, cool.
We were brokerage. So we were just selling currency. So the Forex traders, everyone wants to be a Forex trader. They work for themselves, they gamble on the markets.
Got you.
That's like betting which way the market's going to go. We were literally selling currency.
Right.
So import-export company, we were selling them euros.
How does that work?
So let's say you're ABC International, which imports £100,000 worth of wood, 100,000 euros worth of wood every month, and they sell it. They need to pay for their supplies in euros. If they use the bank's exchange rate, it's really bad. So
got you.
A lovely little company like us gives them a call, says, well, the exchange rate you're getting is really bad. Do you want our exchange rate? This is the exchange rate we can offer you. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to save money. And we save them money.
Got you.
So we sell them euros and we get a better rate through the bank, a preferential rate, because we're directing that business for them.
And you're acting as the middleman on that part?
Essentially brokers, yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, that clears it up. I was going to say, because we have young Ashley here who is learning actually how to trade Forex. So
he's doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's making money. We need to sell to him.
Right, okay.
Let's do it.
I can sell him the euros.
There we go. Business transaction after.
Yes,
done. And then talk to us about the second business as well. Because to run one business is pretty tricky. To go and launch a second.
So I guess probably the key thing that happens was I hadn't had character built up until this point. And then all of a sudden there was a key certain set of instances which happened in my life. So during the time which I was about to start my new business, my dad passed away. And then at the same time, I ended a relationship. Then we started a new business. And it was all of that. I was always focused on, with everything that happens bad, I was focused on and I think we spoke about this earlier, was not letting that thing consume you and focusing on the positive that happened in your life. I could have gone one of two ways in that instance. I could have gone downhill, focused on my dad's death and dealt with that really, really badly, or I had to focus on the positive in my life. Whether I was right in doing what I did and the way I dealt with it, I don't know, maybe I'm still suffering with the consequences today, but it was a real defining moment in my life which actually built a lot of character, because it was such a hardball thrown at me. He killed himself and I had to deal with that and at the same time still run and set up this new business. And I find that was a real life-changing moment for me, and the real starting of this real journey that sort of set me on for the next 5 years of life-changing moments, right?
Well, I can hear that. How old are you now?
25.
Okay, I'm 30. I can hear, I think you'll agree with this, the way that you talk, you've got a great head on your shoulders. And I think, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking, when that happened? Now,
this is a funny thing, right? I, to this day, won't remember the day he passed away.
Right.
So I can't even tell you the age.
So
and I think I blocked it out.
Yeah.
But I know it was roughly 4 or 5 years ago, but I won't focus on the day and I don't want to remember the day.
Yeah.
I remember his birthday clearly, 28th of April.
Yeah.
Obviously, 1959. And I'll remember that day and I'll celebrate that day every year. But I don't think about the day he died.
Yeah.
And I blocked it out and I really, honestly, couldn't. I'd have to really think about it to tell you the day he died.
Yeah. And you know...
I know the day is the 1st of May, a couple of days after his birthday, same birthday as my granddad. So that was pretty intense, but I don't remember the year.
Wow. I think if you can't remember it, that's very similar to my uncle and my mum when they lost. I can't remember if it was my granddad. I didn't know either of them, but either my nan or my granddad, when they went through quite a traumatic time when they were younger, they can't actually remember any of those events that happened during this period. And when they went to see a therapist, they said it's because your mind has switched it off. You've chosen to not take that in, therefore it's basically been put into a dark hole that you'll probably not remember, and maybe you will one day when you're older. Maybe.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was the way I dealt with it in that time. And I think, a lot of people, they do, they talk about experiences and they say this is how you've got to deal with something. No, I think that's rubbish. It's how the individual deals with every situation.
Yeah.
It might come back to haunt me. It might have already been haunting me today, But yeah,
you can't fall into an expected lane of how you're meant to feel.
No, exactly.
That would be too systematic on making us almost like AI robots. That this is how you're meant to feel and this is how you're meant to deal with it.
Make us human nature. Would make us human beings, like you say. Yeah.
But I can sit here and say, by the way you're talking and the head on your shoulders, honestly, it's you sound like someone who's far more ahead and advanced of your age.
I get it a lot in the age thing. So when people talk to me, it's like, oh yeah, you seem 28, 29, 30. When people see my face though, for example, I went to a bar the other day, I got asked for ID. I'm like, do I look 17? Really? Do I actually look
you
17?
Do look young.
I was like, seriously? I was like, you must think, so it's not even just thinking I'm not 18, you're actually saying that I look 16, 17. I was like,
I would say 24.
Yeah,
I would say the 24, 25.
Challenge 25 now though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's challenging.
It
25.
is, yeah. How old do you think Paul is?
That's gonna be.
It's on camera.
32.
Wow.
That's good.
How old do you think I am?
You already said 30.
I've always liked you, Sam. I've always.
Out of your mind. How old do you think?
No, I would say
I would say
early 30s. Yeah, I would have said early 30s.
That was about early. Okay, I have a red button down here, Sam. By the way, there's no parachute. By the way, there's no parachute.
There's no parachute. No coming back.
What's your business plans like? As a young lad, to even be doing what you're doing is it will be aspiring to other people. What are your plans going forward? What does your life look like over the next 5-10 years?
That's a hard one. That's a real hard one because I always had goals, right? So I entered the city working at 18. I was earning £300 a month on probation and commission and being told that I was going to earn £10,000 a month. Well, there are some people who do it, and I was luckily one of the people who got up to high figures. So I think within like a couple of years, I was earning 60, 70,000 a year. And I always had a goal, right? So my first goal was get onto a contract, earn a basic salary of, let's say 24,000 a year, just an average salary. Then you hit that. Your next goal is let's earn 100,000, 10,000 pound a month. Let's get to that goal. You hit that. Then I was in a London scene of friends where everyone owned their own businesses. My family all own their own businesses. Got to own my own business. That was my next goal. What's really interesting, and the one bit of advice I'd give to anyone, which I need to take for myself as well, is if you're going to have a goal, enjoy that journey while you get there, because your goal's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you need to enjoy the journey, because you don't want to be 30 and have hit the 10 different goals and going, I'm 30, I haven't enjoyed the whole journey.
Yeah.
The journey is the biggest part. And I probably need to take my own advice as I say it to you here today.
Mate, I could not agree more. Do you know, I'm going to use such a weird, almost acronym example of backing up what you've just said. One of my favourite games when I was younger, when I was a kid, I used to have the Nintendo 64, I'm a bit older than you, was Zelda, believe it or not, was Zelda.
Okay.
And you know, Zelda was a hard game. It was an open world, one of the first. And I used to struggle on missions and I used to get really frustrated and I used to put it away for weeks and then I used to go back to it and I completed it. And the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? I was gutted. When it had finished, I was like, but I loved it. I loved, and then I replayed all the moments that I went through. And it's a very weird acronym and kind of description of how I'm matching that up. But the point is, it's the journey that I don't think... he just dies over these ones. Let's put it away. I haven't said a Bumblebee. I haven't mentioned Pokemon yet. So But, you know, it's about the journey. I couldn't second that. I know people that have had families that have done very well in business, like yours. But I also know people who have had the families that have done very well in business that they never became themselves because the family's business and the originals, they always oversaw everything. It was the names were too big for the younger ones too.
So I guess that's where I'm quite lucky.
How has that been for you?
Because although my family have all done very well, and don't get me wrong, my parents gave me everything up until the age of 18 or whatever it was. But the thing was, it wasn't like we had every family, you've got your immediate family. Every immediate family had their own business. So that nothing was shared between cousins, uncles, aunts or anything like that. So even my grandma and granddad did very well, but they kept it to themselves. So in our immediate family, yes, my parents did extremely well, but at the same time, we weren't billionaires or hundreds of millions, or we were very wealthy, but we weren't to the point where it was like, okay, you just take over the family business or we'll just give you everything. By the time I was 18, it was like my mum would give me money, but should form a list and I'd pay it back. Now, I'd always manage to swim out, but I'd have the anxiety of having to pay my mum back for, 3 months. And maybe I pay half back and 3/4. Again, I was extremely fortunate, but I think that was my family and their bearing and making sure that didn't happen. And look, if I wanted to work with my family, that was the option, but that would have always been an option, and I could have always steered into what they were doing. At times, we did do that.
Yeah.
But it was more, it wasn't right. It didn't fit. It didn't work. It was...
You wanted a sense of your own.
Yeah.
I really like that because we also jointly know someone whose dad did very well, and also the son wanted to do his own thing. He didn't want to fall out. But the thing is, I also know people that almost they were forced into the family business, and it was like, no, look, we've built this up, and I still know them today, and it's like, no, you need to come. We've built this up. This isn't to go to waste. We need you to come into it, and it's like, but I want to do my own thing. No, but we need you. I understand
Which I think's fine, right? You can do that. You can go into. I mean, look, everyone's their own thing. I think there's a perfect thing. If your family built this amazing business, and you want to go, my thing is just don't be. What happens a lot is they don't take the lead. They're not of the level to like their parents or grandparents were to take that lead in the business, to make that business grow more. I have a very good friend whose parents did a property company and they made a few million, and he's taken this property company today and doing flat pack, like the old World War II style housing, where it's all basically factory built houses.
Like module houses.
And he's changed the whole thing. He's worth like tens, 100 million maybe, I don't know, but he's taken that business, he's seen what his parents were doing, and he's gone,
double down.
Yeah. He doubled down.
Yeah, that's what I like. I think if you're going to take over, really, it's almost like doing your parents proud. I think it's like taking over anything really. If you're going to do it, don't let it go to waste. Go to waste. What's your mindset been like as you've sort of gone into this journey, quite young really, into business? How has your mindset shifted? What changes are you noticing? Even like now, thicker skin. What are you learning about yourself?
Never have thicker skin. I really struggle. I'm a Pisces. I don't even believe in horoscopes or, any of that. But I do believe I am an emotional person, so I struggle. I do struggle. I mean, I like to tell myself I'm emotionless. And to some things, I'm rather cold-hearted. But other things, I'm very emotional. I mean, it seems like what happened since my dad died has set in motion a world of like, okay, you're going to have shit thrown at you, and I'm sorry to swear on your podcast.
No, you swear away.
Sorry to have shit thrown. You're going to have shit thrown at you your whole life. It's never going to go away. It's not like you can't. I used to think to myself, something else has happened now. When's this going to end? No, it's going to happen your whole life. Yeah. You're going to always have that shit thrown at you. You've got to deal with that shit. So I guess maybe I'm becoming colder to the world. I've realised that shit's going to happen to me. But at the same time, I guess I'm realising that when shit happens, it's that bounce back time that's getting quicker and quicker. I was already quick when my dad passed away. And then I had I can't remember, I think my nan passed away after that. A lot more quicker rebound time. Then after that, I fell out with my business partners. And I was essentially forced out of my own business. So then the rebound time, but again, that hurt. It was like there was two sort of situations which happened in my life. It was two situations of death, and then there was two situations of relationships, personal relationships. Both were very shocking to me, but both every single time these instances, I needed to bounce back, and I need to bounce back quicker. You know, I think we all know Andrew Tate, right? And he is filled, for what he says and what he comes out with, there is some interesting stuff he does come out with. And he came out with something, it was like, when you, let's say, leave a relationship and someone says, oh, I left the relationship 3 months ago, I'm really sad about it. And he goes, why on earth have you wasted 3 months of your life thinking about that?
Yeah.
Use that energy, fuel yourself, get to the gym, start a new business.
Yeah.
And you have to use those raw emotions to fill yourself. It's the only way you can deal with, and you have to channel it. Because if you don't channel those raw, hectic emotions, you're only going to go down. You're only going to go down a well and down into a hole.
Mate, I love this. I don't know if anyone else. I could just like, you know, like, honestly, what you're saying is spot on. What you just said about rebound time, we talk about this all the time. We, for the like our bread and butter businesses that we do, as you know, business comes and goes, and like you've got to keep lead generation. You've got to rebound time. I mean, Paul, what do you reckon your rebound time is like? I mean, it's a case of we ring each other up, we throw a few fucks down the phone, and then we're just back at it because no one else is going to do it for you. Like, it's just a case of get on with it. Otherwise, it's wasted time, and time you don't get back. Look
at boxers, right? And I know it's probably a really old analogy, but a boxer gets knocked down. If he stays down for 10 seconds, he's screwed. He's out the game. If he gets back up in a second, he's still got a chance of winning.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all about, you know, and that's an analogy of, you know, boxing, but it's the same in life, because it's not just about the boxer being on the floor. It's about his mental state, right? If he knows in his head he's got back up in a second, he's like, didn't faze me. Mm-hmm. I can deal with that punch. Throw more at me like that. I can deal with it. If he stays down for 8 seconds, you're in his head.
Yeah.
You've got him. You've got him down. You've got him beaten. He was down for 8 seconds. He knows the next he's going to be out for 10.
Mate, we've just literally earlier on had a professional boxer from Matchroom on, and the mindset. You should be on stage, by the way. I swear to God, you should be on public speaking.
I mean, we do a lot. We do a bit at the moment.
You're delivering well, but you're saying, look, let's have a camera moment. Mindset, like everything you're saying is just mindset. Getting back up, the rebound time, the not wasting time, going and getting it, and not letting things phase you for too long. But I do think you're right in terms of having emotion to accept something has happened. I think that's the dangerous part, is if something traumatic has happened and you're not accepting it, it's going to catch up with you. I really believe that at some point they'll probably bite you on the arse. But knowing when to go, I've accepted it, I've had some emotion, I might have some later down the line, but I now need to press forward as much as I can. So in terms of the world that we live in, with business, marketing, how do you find that with relationships? What's that like? Because that is something.
What do you mean What kind of relationships?
So partner relationships. Not a lot of people talk about this kind of thing because it's almost like, oh, I don't want to admit that actually, do you know what, it can cause problems. But it's something I think a lot of people relate to. If you're in business, it can be hard.
Definitely, yeah.
The laugh says it all. Let's dive into it.
I mean, this is going to be a fun one.
he's like, how long was the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, when does it get aired? Oh, Jesus. I mean, I have a very, I think I said emotional personality. So I commit quite quickly. I rush into things. So I've ended up in a lot of relationships very quickly, and probably very, very immaturely and very, very wrongly, and not the people that I should have been in relationships with. From one girl who was probably the sweetest girl in the world I'd ever dated, and just there wasn't for me, the chemical thing, but I think I love her more than any of the other girls because she was the sweetest person to have ever entered my life. And unfortunately, I couldn't give her what she wanted. To another girl, which was... I mean, I don't like to speak badly about anyone.
You're here now.
But it was toxic as hell, of a relationship. And I'm sure I'm as equally to blame for that. And the toxicity and the passion and the back and forth was crazy. But it was very toxic. And I'm sure I'm equally to blame for all of that. To the most recent one, which was the longest one.
I love it. It's like,
Yeah.
so there was Sophie.
I mean, look, there's been other relationships in between, but these are like my three main ones. And I'll tell you, I'll lead into how business has affected them, essentially. I mean, the first one wasn't really affected. It was more the last two. And the last one was 4-year relationship. And the business really, really probably affected us because as much as someone says they're there to emotionally support you, if you're not there to emotionally support them, it can become a very, very hard relationship. And because I was always so busy with work, always so focused on, building something and probably not giving, her enough attention, well, she ended up resenting me. That's what she tells me anyway. And that's why she cheated.
Oh no.
Anyway. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But what did we say? The rebound time, the bounce back.
I mean, I think it was 2 weeks.
And he was back in LA. He's back in LA. I love it.
You hit the nail on the head. Yes.
I almost want to get you over it.
I'm dead.
I love it.
God.
I'm going to LA.
I really hope no one films this.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy. Where's your journey at now? What's the main focus? You've got the businesses set up. You've got a lot going on. How are you finding time to enjoy things, do other things in your life?
I've realised you've got to sort of surround yourself with people who are enable you to do what you want to do. So right now what we're doing, I've got my main business, my currency exchange business, which runs pretty much in the background, and I have my team which help me manage it. So that's all really, really well managed. The new entity, we're trying to raise millions of dollars at the moment. So, we're building a metaverse platform to accept metaverse payments, NFTs, blockchain, but also fiat currency. So it's taking a lot of time. Obviously, we've got our headquarters in Abu Dhabi. I'm part-time in London, part-time in LA. I've got a Russian business partner. I've got British business partner, all based around the world. The problem with this is there is no 9 till 5 on that. Mm-hmm. This is very much 24/7. We're on the move and we're doing stuff, and it's speaking to investors, going to summits. So time management is everything, right? And there really isn't much time for anything else. So maybe it was the perfect time for me to be out of a relationship, no commitments, no thing, to really, really focus and give myself the all. In real honest answer to you, in answer to your question, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. You just got to sort of do your best, and you've just got to, as long as you're happy with the traction you're making, I think that's the best thing.
Well, momentum's such a big thing as well, isn't it? I really feel that if you're in business and you don't accept that you need to be involved in the waves that momentum make, you could lose so many opportunities. Like, if you don't take that phone call, if you don't move when you need to move, if you don't make the trip that you need to make, you may have lost the biggest thing that might have happened to you in your business. And I think just to have your foot half on the pedal, you can't be half. No, you need to be at it. And that's
either all in or out.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because if you're not willing to, especially with the business we're doing at the moment, raising millions of dollars, if I'm not willing to commit all my time and effort, why on earth should someone be willing to commit $1 million of their own money? And their CEO is not even going to commit all his time and effort. I'm not putting any of my money into it. So why, if I'm trying to convince people to give me their money to build the next PayPal or Stripe of the metaverse, I've got to show them that I'm willing to put, 100% of my time in. If they say, meet me here, there's no second guessing that meeting. I'm coming to you, whatever time or place you want it to be. I'll take a flight and I'll be there.
And that's the commitment that you need.
You have to. It's
the sacrifice. This is what I really feel. There's a defining line between liking the idea of business and toying with it and playing with it to going, by the way, you are actually going to need to do this. Like, this isn't all laugh and jokes. Like, the sacrifice is you may need to leave, you may not need to go on holiday, you may need to push that back. And like you say, when it comes to money, lack of confidence is if you're not willing to put in the work. If we're going to lend you money and you're not putting in the effort, why on earth would anyone? And then it's loss of credibility, isn't it?
And then I think, it's not, one perspective I have to get on this is, it's not necessarily that, you've got to commit yourself 100% and you can't have any fun and you can't go out, you can't do this. You've got to make your life revolve around it. So let's say you go out to, we go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi. We have our meetings and I know my structure of my week. And then on the Friday, if they've got time, I'll go out and I'll enjoy myself. I know people around the area or I'll meet someone. So it's about structuring your life. It's not all work. I'm never a promoter of all work and no fun. You've got to enjoy yourself. You've got to relax. You've got to de-stress. But you have to... The work is the main priority if you want to... Well, business is the main priority if you want to build a business. But don't let that consume your life. Still allow yourself to do things around it. But let's say my going out will be a blockchain event party in Dubai, rather than going out with my friends. Or I'll say to my friends, right, there's a blockchain party, why don't you come? And we'll have a drink there. But at the same time, I'm speaking on stage. I'm having a drink, one drink before I go on stage, and then I'll drink afterwards. It's about making my schedule revolve around business rather than my work revolve around my schedule, rather than my personal life.
I love it. Wise beyond your years. Wise beyond your years. And feel free to invite me and Paul to the WW parties. Mate, as we come...
parties.
Or the LA parties. Mate,
This was one thing that's made us nearly break up with my ex-missus. Apparently there was a no girlfriends allowed boat party. I don't remember going to this boat party.
no, because you were drunk. You were drunk. Mate, as we come to a close, where can people find out more about you, learn about your businesses, and perhaps get in contact?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Samuel Vanderpump. All my contact details are on there. So yeah, anywhere.
Amazing. Final, just a top tip for anyone of a young age. Let's target the people between 20 and 30. If they want to start a business, they're hungry for it, they really want to put their all, what would be your top tip to go into business?
Just do it. Commit yourself. Take a leap. It comes out of a place of uncomfort. Do it while you're younger and you've got no responsibilities, no attachments. The younger you can do it, the better. Because the older you get, and I see it so much more, is the older you get, let's say you get married, you have kids, you have a house. You can't make those leaps anymore. I'm very lucky again where I'm now in the same sort of position that I was 5 years ago, where I don't have my house, don't have my partner, I don't have those, essentially, I don't mean it in a bad way, but those ties. So it's easier for me to commit myself to something. It's a lot harder when you're in those responsibilities. You're a grown adult who has responsibilities, who has to be there for another person, has to support someone else, has to make sure the bills come in. So it's a hard one. But I would say just do it while you're young, commit, and enjoy it. Enjoy the journey.
I would second all of that, and that's why I said work hard when you come out of education. That's all I'll say. Everyone, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all very soon.